If you want to be involved, make sure you put your contact details on the orange post-it notes. Right, let's get going. Can I first just say who I am, just so you know who I am, what I'm doing. My name is Peg Alexander. I'm a presenter, a broadcaster, a journalist, and I've also been campaigning on the issues in Doughnut Economics, sadly, for over 30 years, way too long. Today, my job is just to move us through the event, okay? That's all I'm here for, is to move us through the event and to hopefully bring it all together, keep us on time if we can, and to see if we can make sure we have as good an event as possible. So getting to the programme of today, as I was saying, this event is organised by Boro Doughnut. They're a community action group. It's all about a thriving Middlesbrough based on Doughnut economics, meeting the needs of all people within the needs of the planet. And if you're not so sure what Doughnut economics are during the day, obviously you're going to be learning a lot more about that. This is part of the Local Motion week-long event called Blueprint. And so massive thanks to Local Motion, also to MEMA as the joint organisers, and the Hope Foundation who have been supporting this. I mean, we all know the last few weeks have been tumultuous to say the least, haven't they? I mean, I don't know what, I saw someone put on Twitter yesterday, describe the last month in one word. So we can all choose the words that we'd want to put for what's gone on in the last, however long, the last couple of months and the last week. But in some ways, strangely, I do think there's no better time, really, for a discussion about Doughnut economics to be having, because, you know, for the first time that I can remember, the question of growth, right? The question of economic growth, what is it? What does it mean? Do we want it? All those questions is right up there. Trickle-down economics has been discussed in a way that I can't remember it being discussed. I mean, many years ago when I was a politician, I remember discussing some of these issues on Question Time, and people looked at me like, what are you talking about? Because the consensus so much was there was one kind of economic system and one kind of economic system only. And when someone comes along and goes, don't ask me how I'm going to tinker with it, talk to me about the system, everyone was like, whoa, whoa, that's a bit too difficult. So now is really interesting because we are actually starting to have economic questions, I think, which truly allow us to start talking about the planet, about people, and having those economic questions rather than it all starting with money and the traditional economics, if you like. Because, of course, the donut is different, okay? It doesn't start with money or with the markets or all of those. It actually starts with people and with the planet. And it looks at how we can make an economy work for us and work for our planet rather than us working for an economy. So, today you're going to hear loads of stuff. You're going to be doing thinking. You're going to be involved, you're going to be engaged, and thinking about action, really thinking about action. What can we do now? What is the role that every single one of us can play in starting to work towards that different kind of world and making a more thriving Middlesbrough? Boro Doughnut, their strap line is community, connect and action. So today you're going to hear from loads of people who are going to show you the Doughnut way with that community, that connection and that action. And there's going to be creativity built into this throughout. As I say, there are some activities going on in the studio upstairs as well. So at this point, I also want to say that the wishes have been sent from Andy MacDonald MP, who has been instrumental, I understand, in helping this happen and wanted to send his wishes along to the conference as well today.
Hi everyone, I'm really sorry not to be with you in person for this fabulous event, but I'm grateful for the opportunity to make this very short contribution. I'm really excited about Doughnut Economics, and I do hope that those of you who are coming to the concept for the very first time can share my enthusiasm, because I think this can be a different way of viewing economics and a very impactful way, and it can be a real catalyst for major change in our communities, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy your day. A huge thanks to Emmy and everyone involved for organising this. Middlesbrough, as you know, is my hometown, and I'm immensely proud to be its Member of Parliament. And I know from visiting people in the constituency, visiting businesses, different organisations, charities and all sorts of people, that we've got really extraordinary people doing extraordinary things that so benefit our town and our people. That's from community groceries to kinship carers, from eco shops to key workers. There's a real community spirit and a determination in Middlesbrough. We must protect the earth for future generations. And in Kate Raworth's brilliant book, the essence of the Doughnut is explained as this: a social foundation of well-being that no one should fall below, an ecological ceiling of planetary pressure that we should not go beyond, and between the two lies a safe and just space for all. Now, with the cost of living crisis and this cruelest of governments, people need more help than ever. Through Doughnut Economics, we can all work together to create sustained community wealth, to protect and nurture our precious planet, and to deliver social justice and live together in a spirit of peace and respect. Together we can create a richer and more democratic economy where everyone is valued and respected, and the people of Middlesbrough and everywhere else deserve nothing less. Thank you. Enjoy your day.
The other thing we've got up here, which I know you can't see when you're sitting down there, but I'd like to ask you all to make sure you take time to have a good look at today, with 2 paintings. And they're paintings from artist Alina Smith. The first painting that we've got down here, as I say, it's a bit difficult for some of you to see though, is called Think Again, Time Is Now. And that is a really strong message for us today. You know, we're trapping the earth, we're trapping the next generation's future. What can we do? How can we act now to make things better? And then next to it also is a painting called Mirror, Then Leap Out. And this is about facing our bravery and being able to move out, to take the action, to learn from each other and act now. So please do come and have a look at those paintings. Right, let's get on to speakers. We've got loads of speakers today, going to talk to you about all sorts. We're going to start off with thinking about the past. Can the past connect us back to nature? What can we learn from the past? And we're very, very pleased that we've got Giuseppe Delia with us. Now, Giuseppe is a PhD candidate at Durham University. He's studying Egyptology and bees, and he's going to talk to us about how might the past help us about a thriving Middlesbrough today. So, Giuseppe, thank you.
So very quickly, talking about bees in Egypt, I want to point out that the relevance of bees was really important for Egyptians. Oh, sorry. Okay. Thank you. So what we know now about bees, that how crucial are they in the environment, is what they understood too. And they took that very inside their own culture and they made it very crucial for them. So, for example, they thought that bees came from the tears of Ra, so they came from the sun. So the sun that gives life, the bees gives life too. So in the same way, the honey they produce is golden, and it reminded them that the skin of the gods was golden too. So it meant that eating honey or consuming products made by bees was really important to connect with the gods, to connect with nature in that case. So we see that they took that very seriously, and they shaped their society very much like the bee society, having someone as a leader. In that case, they thought that the queen bee was actually a king bee, funny enough. But what is important is that the rest of the community worked all together as bees for the wellness, for the sustainability of the community itself. So the bees consume very little of what is in the nature, but they give back so much in pollinating flowers and also keep the ecosystem alive. So what we can see in the Egyptian culture about bees is the fact that since the very beginning of the Egyptian civilization, they put the bee as the center of their culture, because they put, for example, the symbol of the bee there on the left. If for those of you who can see it, was the symbol of the ruler of the Lower Egypt, so the delta, the most fertile area of Egypt. And that became part of the titles of the pharaohs. So the pharaohs as we know them, like Ramses II, Tutankhamun, Cleopatra, they always had the bees in front of their names to signify that they were the rulers of the lands. And so, meaning that they would perform the same kind of duties that the bees were actually naturally doing. So they were the highest priests, so they had to perform this kind of ritual to ensure that every year the Nile would give them all the goods that come with the lime, and so they could survive, they could have a very prosperous agriculture, very prosperous ecosystem. So, so what matters is that they figure out very early how bees work, and so how the bee society work, and how we should work together, because they work in the same, we should work in the same way. Okay. What I wanted to say is basically that they knew bees, and for part of their history, they kept bees mostly for the pharaohs, so they understood that the honey was something very, very precious. And so we should think about bees in that way too. So what they produce, what they do for nature, is very much what we should do too. Cooperate, find a balance with nature, and figure out how to proceed this way. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Giuseppe. That was great. I mean, I think that concept that there's so much we can learn from nature that we can pull into our economic systems and into our thinking and into society is absolutely brilliant. The idea that civilization's gone past, that we know loads more than them, well, sometimes I think it's possible to wonder, isn't it, really, how much we have developed. But there you go. We're talking there about the past. The very distant past. Now let's think about the future, because obviously, ultimately, it's not going to be me and some of us in this room who maybe are going to have to bear all the brunt of climate change. It is going to be our young people. We're really, really pleased that Mia is going to talk to us a bit about this from the perspective of being a young person. Mia, please come on up. Thank you. Do you want me to hold it for you, or do you want to hold it? Shall I hold it here?
Hello, I'm Mia, I'm 10 years old, and I have an interest in animals, saving the planet and sewing. You might think, who is this girl standing here? Why is she speaking to us? Well, I need your help. I want the world to stop being sick, but some people don't even notice. The world is dying and they do nothing, they don't even realise. All they do is go around, drive big trucks and expensive cars, using all the petrol as they go about their day. And the thing is, my school doesn't even have an eco club. They forget to talk about it half of the time. And we haven't been told why. I really want a better future. Wait, no, I want a better now. And I want those people to stop. I want them to realise there is only one planet for us, and that's planet Earth. Mars and Jupiter is for aliens and UFOs, but Earth is for us.
Wow, everybody, please, thank you. Well, thank you, Mia. Thank you very, very much. Do you know what? That is so brilliant. And, I know you're going to get into all sorts of discussions today, and there will be moments when everyone will feel this is pointless. Why are we doing this? This is too hard. This is too big. Does it make a difference? And I think I will remember those words of Mia. She said, I need your help. This needs to stop, So if at those moments we start to feel a bit like this is just so big, how do we make these changes? Then just remember about what Mia was saying. Thank you, Mia, because you've given us that frame to do this. absolutely right now. Now, because I was holding the microphone for Mia, I'm afraid to say my notes are down there. Is somebody just able to pass me that pile of notes there? Brilliant. Thank you very, very much. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to move on to an introduction to Doughnut Economics. What is Doughnut Economics? What does it mean? What are the concepts involved in it? We're very, very pleased that Geeta Sharma, who is the chair of Boro Doughnut and also part of Local Motion, is going to give us a quick whistle-stop tour through the whole concepts of Doughnut Economics. So Geeta, take it away.
Thank you all for coming, we really do appreciate it. So today I'm going to talk to you about Doughnut Economics. I know you might think, Doughnut Economics, what does that actually mean? But it's looking at what we have, what do we have around us, what do we need to be able to thrive. You might have seen that word thrive quite a lot, especially when we're talking about this event. What does that word actually mean? I want to throw it out. What do people think that the word thrive actually means? And what does that mean to you?
Progress. Doing really well.
Doing really well, brilliant, progress. But what do we mean by progress? Progress in what aspect?
Everyone becoming more affluent and greater equality.
Right, so I'm going to take the greater equality there. The affluence bit is something that we can discuss. So, do we think that money is more important or happiness is more important?
Happiness.
Thank you. Yes, it's about happiness. This is where Doughnut Economics is coming in. It's about looking at the world around us and thinking, do we actually need the excesses and the trappings of an affluent life? Or do we have what we need to actually just thrive and be a happy community together? So a quick little clip here from Kate Raworth. She's one who actually helped develop the Doughnut Economics. So we can see this expanded ball here. So in the middle we've got so the Earth, in terms of the ecological resources that we have, they're only so expansive. Just like this expanding ball here, there's only so far that it can go. So we need to think about in terms of, are we able to stay within our means to be able to thrive and be happy? So within the Doughnut itself, we've got these two aspects. You have the social foundation, which is the bit that, well, what do we need to be happy? What are the aspects that we need to be able to thrive? So looking at education, we all need to be able to have access to good education. We all need to be able to have a political voice, social equality, all of these things that energy, food, water, health, housing, all of the things that are within the Doughnut, they're part of our social foundation. And what we're trying to do is to make sure that everyone has access to those fundamental rights to be able to thrive. But then, as Kate said there, we have that ecological crust. We cannot go past our means. Unfortunately, we are in a position at the moment where we are going past our means. We are experiencing climate change. We are experiencing pollution to its max. We are in a position where we do have to bring it back. And that is our ecological ceiling. So understanding our limitations from even the smallest, at a neighbourhood level as well. This isn't something that has to be done throughout the whole town. We can do this at a neighbourhood level, understanding what you have within your neighbourhood and trying to work within that as well. Working on a communal togetherness would be fantastic to be able to meet those needs. So moving on to what we want the Doughnut to look like for Middlesbrough. As I mentioned, we want Boro Doughnut, we want to be looking at empowering the community, empowering the different communities around Middlesbrough to be able to take the aspects of Doughnut Economics and apply them to their own communities, their own neighbourhoods, and make those small incremental changes to be able to make a bigger town-wide impact. So we've got on our little flyers and everything, you can see there's a QR code there. It links to our Facebook group called Middlesbrough Action, Community Action now, sorry. And please do come and find out how you could become a ringleader for your own community.
Thank you. Thank you very much there, Geeta Sharma. So, okay, we're going to move in now to thinking a bit about how we can apply the Doughnut here in Middlesbrough. And to do this for us, we've got Emmy, Imai and Danny Kerr. Now, they're both teachers, and Emmy is the organiser behind the conference today. And they're going to start thinking about how we can get active. And then after that, you're going to start doing some stuff. We're going to start really thinking about, is Middlesbrough a thriving place? Are we happy with the current state of it? What do we need to do to really get to that point? And we're going to get you using the post-it notes as well afterwards, and I'll come round and talk to a few people. But first, if I could hand over to Emmy and Danny.
Thank you. So we want to start a discussion today about where we are in Middlesbrough, in the Doughnut. And if you look at the graphic, I think this is one of the best things about Doughnut Economics. It's quite easy to understand straight away, looking at that graphic, what it's about. And the green space that's inside the Doughnut, that's the safe space, which is between the social foundation and the ecological ceiling. So today what we want to do is actually look at where we are in Middlesbrough in respect of this Doughnut, and it's important to do that because unless we know where we are, then it's very difficult to look at what we're aiming for. So very straightforward part of the process is to look at the ecological ceiling, and it doesn't take that much analysis to realise that we're overshooting the ecological ceiling. Locally, I'm sure you've seen in the news, or perhaps you've seen firsthand, a huge loss of sea life along the northeast coast, along Saltburn, Mask, Redcar. There have been some protests about that, quite rightly too. So we don't need to do that much analysis to be able to tell that we are overshooting the ecological ceiling. This data here is based on 2015 in the UK. Oh, it's 22, sorry, stand corrected, 22, so it's up to date. Did you know that kestrels can see rodents' urine from a distance of over 30 metres? Sometimes when you do a talk, it's good to say weird things because it's sort of, you can check who's listening. No, but there is a point to this because kestrels have exceptional eyesight, and they do this in order to look at where the rodents spend their time, their pathways, and they've got exceptional vision, and that's what we want today. We want exceptional vision so that we can look at what this green space looks like, where is Middlesbrough, and how do we get there. Do you want me to? Yeah, okay, so we're primary teachers, so we don't mind looking silly. It's not yet. Sorry, just getting ready. Okay. Sorry?
Yeah, it's okay. Next one, please. Yeah. Next one. That's
okay.
It, yeah.
So the green space, what does that mean in just really basic terms? Can you summarise it in a sentence? The green space within the Doughnut, it's in between the space between a social foundation and an ecological ceiling, and you could summarise it in one sentence. Is Middlesbrough a place where you can meet the needs of people whilst also respecting the needs of the environment? So if we look at one aspect within Middlesbrough.
So, on your tables, if you have the special lens mask, if you like to put them on, yeah, can you see them? Can you put them on like John and maybe, yeah? So it's a bit like being a kestrel. You have these special lenses, and it's called the 4 lenses, and you're asking the 4 questions. Are we all being kind to the environment in Middlesbrough? Are we kind to the environment all around the world? Are we kind to all the people in Middlesbrough? But also, are we being kind to all the people around the world? So for example, you can think about if you're going to shopping, instead of just mindlessly going out without any bags, you think about the environment, being kind, you do it, and then when you go shopping, you think about, is this product I'm buying, is this really exploiting some people, or are we actually traveling miles and miles away? And so you're asking these questions. So when you put these masks on with the 4 lenses, as you can see, in the front, you have the donuts as the goal, so that's ahead of you. But on the back of your mind, can you turn around please? You have these 4 lenses questioning you, are we really being kind to the environment and the people, not just here, but for everyone around the world. So it would be great if you can actually start wearing these 4 lenses and start being mindful about what we do. Thank you.
Thanks. So you can tell we're both primary teachers. So if we look at food banks, not food banks, but food in general in Middlesbrough, and we ask the question, are we in the green safe space with relation to food security? And on the one hand, you might say, yes, of course we are, because we have so many food banks, therefore people have somewhere they can access food if they need to. But on the other hand, you might first of all say it's not a very dignified way of having to get food. It's also unsustainable. It's not kind to the environment. There's a lot of single-use plastics. In other words, it's a way of addressing the symptoms of a problem rather than addressing the root cause of it. So what we're going to do now is have a look at the different aspects of life in Middlesbrough and in the UK on these boards that Emmy is pointing out. And we're going to discuss, do you think Middlesbrough is in the safe green space in relation to these different aspects? And if that's the case, then please say why you think that is. If you don't think that's the case, please say, and also speak to as many people as possible here. The whole point, one of the points in this event is to get people together to speak to each other. So I'll hand over. Yeah, thanks a lot.
Okay, so is everyone clear what you're going to be doing now? Everyone know? Okay, so get your post-it notes. Okay, so they're going to go up on the board. So basically, what you want to be doing with your post-it notes is be using, could you go back to that other slide, if that's okay? Yeah. Okay, so your green post-it notes for things that you think, yes, is the answer to that. We have a thriving Middlesbrough. And there's lots of boards up there, so can you see? I'm struggling from here, I can't. Come and tell us what they are, Danny, because I can't see them from here.
Yeah. So we've got different aspects of life in Middlesbrough, for example, education, health. Could someone call out another one? Equality. Okay. What else have we got? Water, housing. Okay, water, housing. Other ones I wrote down here. I'm not sure if they're up there, potentially transport, jobs, energy. But under those headings, green post-it notes for, yes, we're thriving, things that we're thriving. And then pink post-it notes for things where you feel like we're not thriving. Because, of course, they're the things that we could start to take more action on. So if everybody wants to start doing that, and
I'm going to come and try and get some of you to come and tell me about it. Now, unfortunately, I don't have a roving mic, so I can't come up to where you're doing it, but I might grab people to come back down here in a little bit after you've done that, and we'll start talking about the things that you've put on there. So everybody get going on your post-it notes. Green for things that, yes, Thriving Middlesbrough, pink for the things that you think aren't and we need to sort out. Off you go.
Project up in Bristol, the yard.
Do you want me to put on the housing?